yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm, yeah. Born and dead, saved by love. Count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People living life, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again. And love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy forever. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, hate will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Said it in His word. Weeping may endure the night. Love will conquer all. Love will win the fight. So don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. Darkest hour just before the light. Hate will be crushed, fear will be gone, love will remain and go on and on. Though the road seems rough, my friend, we know how the journey ends. Oh, yeah. La, da, da, da. La, da, da. La, da, da. Oh, love will reign.
Love will reign. I absolutely love that song. And I'm so grateful and thankful to Kier Coleman Ward for allowing us to use that as our theme song here in the Love and Stuff community each Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love will reign. I want to bring that message of hope and power to you and encourage and invite you to look up Kier Coleman Ward across music platforms and pick up your copy, download your stream, whatever your method of fancy is to enjoy the powerful music. Thank you, Kier Coleman Ward. We're excited and honored to have you as a part of our Love and Stuff community. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist, not the loveologist. I don't have a degree in love. I just have go to a great degree to advocate for a love for you and me, whether it is covenant love, marriage, boo, babe, spouse, that would be marriage, whether it is with your children, whether it is with your siblings, whether it is with your coworkers, kindred, and acquaintance. Come on. You deserve to have a better love and for love to thrive in 2025. And if that's you, I want you to click share, whether you're watching us on Instagram Live or you're watching us on YouTube events or Twitch TV, whether you're watching us here live on Facebook from which we emanate. I want you to click share and tag someone to join us in this discussion. I'm grateful to see Kamal Williams all the way from Texas. Texas is in the house. Autumn Nicole Davis Holmes is in the house, an aspiring attorney who inspires me every day to see her be all that she can be. I'm so proud. I am just peacock proud. I'm smiling about the pride of this young lady who is going into closing out her second year in law school, going into her third year. Shout out all the way to you. Mwah. From Texas, from Detroit to Texas. So Texas is in the house. Click share. Tag someone to join us in tonight's discussion, tonight's topic. I love all those loves coming. Click share and tag someone. 5 of your closest friends, subscribers, connections, followers, 5 of the more popular ones. Tonight, we're not on TikTok. There's some TikTok issues and challenges. They won't let me be great tonight, but we'll double back to pick them up with this topic, which I think is an important topic. And I'm often talking to people. Again, I'm not a licensed therapist. I just synthesize the greatness of relationships of the commonwealth that's around me to share the information with others. So I am the reporter on love. I talk to couples all the time. I talk to couples whose marriage didn't work out so well for them, who years later doubled back, got remarried. Some couples didn't get remarried to each other. I talk to couples who've been widowed, spouses who've been widowed, rather. I talk to people who were married 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 60 years. And I synthesize the information to help those of you that want to have a better love. And we go to the inbox to discuss your topics, to discuss your life situations where you might not want to share your name, but you want it to be done in anonymity. As a human resources professional, confidentiality is my business. And so I will keep your anonymity, but we will raise your topics so that you can get varying perspectives on how you might navigate what is important to you. And so we're grateful for those of you that think enough of us to drop topics in the comment. And I pulled and unearthed this topic from the comments because this is April. It is the month that we talk about setting healthy boundaries. And setting healthy boundaries aren't just for others. Sometimes setting healthy boundaries are for yourself. And so I hope that you will journey with us all month long. But this topic I thought was a great way to start out this month. And I'm going to read that topic in a moment. And I hope that you will join us in the comments by sharing your thoughts on the topic so that we might inform others and we might share with them information that will be inspiration for them. So click share and tag someone to join us. I'm just checking across platforms, making sure I'm live everywhere I should be. It's the joy and the weight of producing behind the scenes yourself, and I love it. And I hope that I will get somebody else to do it. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that if you're on YouTube events, that you hear me shouting you out. If you're on Facebook, from which we're emanating the Love and Stuff community page and all the love groups and groups that are connected to us, the Marcus R. Holmes page on Facebook, Twitch TV. I may not have said that one earlier. I'm sorry, Twitch folks. I'm sure I will hear from you if I didn't. And um, um, not LinkedIn Live and Instagram Live. I just want to make sure I'm tracking with you and you're tracking with me as we go into tonight's topic. All right, click share and tag someone. Hey, love and stuff. She writes, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's going on in my house. My husband been coming home from work lately and barely says a word. He'll kiss me, go change his clothes, and then sit in the garage or the basement with the TV or music on. I used to look forward to the time when he walked through that door. Now it feels like he's rushing past me to get away. We used to talk, laugh, cook together, but now it's like he only want to connect on the weekends. Connect means sex. Or maybe one night during the week if I'm lucky. Uh-oh, I lost that. Okay, I'm trying to read from the page. It makes me feel distant, unwanted even. I've asked him if something's wrong and he says he's just tired or needs to clear his head. I'm not trying to nag. Well, we got two teenagers and life don't stop because he's tired. I just don't understand where this need for space came from. Is it me? Is it him? Or is this just what marriage becomes after 15 years? So I want to hear from you. What do you think about this topic? The topic is pinned, and I think I'm going to try to pin it across platforms just so that you will have it there as well. So bear patient with me as I do that. But I do want to hear from you. What do you think about this topic? And what do you think about how this woman is feeling about her husband of 15 years, how he is now responding to her differently when he comes home from work? I'm going to pin the topic. Here I am pinning it across platforms. I want to make sure that you're able to see it, and it should have pinned in other places, but just in case it didn't, I want to make sure it does pin. All right, there we are on the Marcus R. Holmes page, pinning on the Love and Stuff community page. All of you Love and Stuffers, we appreciate you, and we're pinning the topic there as well. It should already be pinned on YouTube events and Twitch TV. Hopefully you are seeing the pin through Restream. All right, I think we're all pinned. Are we all pinned up? Uh-oh. Okay, it is pinned across those platforms, and I appreciate your patience. All right, I want to hear from you, and then I want to share with you a couple of the tips that I provided in the hopes that you can give some feedback on those tips. And maybe these are tips that can even help you in your relationship. I often talk about this topic because I talk to a lot of people who are looking for love, and some of them are in relationships and situationships. And I think what we forget sometimes is being in relationships and situationships, as one preacher used to call it, that people just like us are in evolution. They are evolving. They are changing. Their libidos change, their taste and interest change, and their needs change. If that resonates with anybody, drop yes or amen or hallelujah or something in the comments that you affirm that, or maybe you have a different. Nope, nothing changes. For most people, as you age, as you grow, as you move, as you switch jobs, as you take up a new sport, put down an old sport, your interest and your needs will evolve. You are in evolution. And so, because a person used to be one way or used to do one thing, doesn't mean that that is going to be how he or she will navigate forever. Now, there, as I always say, requires communication. But looky here, listen here is what I want to say. I'm often talking to women that, and I had a woman kind of get into it with me. She got with me good because I made a post some years ago and said, a clean woman can always find a man. Oh, why did I say that? What I was conveying or attempting to convey is that one of the most important things for a lot of men is a clean home and wife, clean living, and peace. Not every man, but most people want a peaceful dwelling, peaceful life. And sometimes women sometimes can be what I've called here in the Love and Stuff community nag muffins. Have you ever heard that word here in the Love and Stuff community? It's because I said it. Nag muffin is someone who nags for the sake of nagging. They nag about taking out the trash. They nag about that nail sticking out that hasn't damaged anybody because it's not anywhere that somebody can get to. They nag about these things that aren't the highest priority, and they nag about them at times that are convenient for them, but often inconvenient for their partner. Okay. And nagging over a period of time can be annoying and it can interrupt peace. So, the first thing I want women to think about, especially, is whether or not what you are passionately reminding your spouse or significant other about, whether or not there is a better time and better way to engage him or her in dialogue and discourse to get some action, to nudge them. If your nagging is not effective and it only makes you feel better, but it gets nothing done, I want to challenge you to revisit that nagging because it could be getting in the way of the peace that your spouse is looking for. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break, but I want to talk to you when I come back about some, especially 4 points that I thought that were worth sharing, and invite you to share some others that you might say, this is something important that should be included in advice for someone who has a spouse who seems to be distant and needs or says they need new space. This is Love and Stuff. I'm Marcus Holmes. We'll be
Sis,
right
let
back.
me tell you something real. Sometimes your man walks in that door, and it's not that he's mad at you. It's that he's tired of performing for the world. He's been wearing masks all day. Providing, protecting, showing up in rooms that don't even see him. So when he comes home quiet, sitting in the garage or sinking into that couch, it might not be distance. It might be decompression. Don't take it personal if he needs a little time to breathe. He's not saying he don't love you. He's saying he's trying not to lose himself. Try this. When he comes home, lead with peace, not a list. Say, I'm glad you're home. Let him land. Then find your moment. Not in the rush of chores or complaints, but in the stillness. That's where the real connection lives. He doesn't hate you. He just needs to breathe. Be his peace and watch him come back to center.
I love that little piece because be his peace and watch him come back to center. And I know women know this, overwhelmingly in the Love and Stuff community. We are 77% women, 24% men. Many of these women are game changing women, single mothers, women that are heads of household who understand what it is to go into a world that is functioning and structured against people, particularly Black people and people of color, but the world is structured in a way that you have to fight every day. You've got to push the envelope every day. You've got to win the world. You've got to fight for everything that you get, right? You're in a position, a seat that someone else covets or thinks that you got because you're a DEI hire. There are so many pressures, right, that you're contending with every day that when you come home, you want to find a place of peace. Does that resonate with anybody? That you don't want to have to be at odds with people. You don't want to have to come home to the place that's supposed to be a sanctuary, the place of peace, and be at odds with your spouse or significant other or your children or your parents if you're caregiving. You want to find that place of peace. You want it to be tranquil, serene. You want it to be clean. You want it to be all of those things that are opposite to what the world has been, because you want to come into a space of safety. If that makes sense, I want to see some hearts or likes or a thumbs up in the comments. And so thinking about that, right? Thinking about your relationship and how those pressures over time can wear on an individual, and all of the other vicissitudes of life, aging and health challenges, and coming to terms with ladies' perimenopause, right? All of these varying factors play different levels and add different layers to how you show up when you're coming at home. When you're coming home and you want to be in what we will call a safe place or safe space. So there's some points that I thought that I shared and that I thought would be good to share here and to get your feedback, and maybe you have other points. So these points would help someone understand their partner, how their partner's evolving needs, especially the evolving need for space, uh, might help them to still be his peace. Okay. Number one is that his space isn't about you. Now, there could be other issues at play. There could be things in the relationship that have become a turn off for him. He could be distracted by other things. I don't rule those out. Those are things that you should have conversations about, right? We're big on conversations here because communication is key to help your relationship have its footing at all times. If someone's foot slips, there should be communication. As someone is moving and stepping, there should be communication. And when someone decides to stand still. So communication is the thread, it's the fulcrum for that relationship. It's an important part of the fulcrum, I will call it, for that relationship to thrive, right? But in general, the need for space isn't about you. It's about his sanity. Because different than women, some women, men are often taught to carry stress silently. Work, money, fatherhood, and aging can all weigh on a man differently than before. So his desire to retreat may not be a rejection. It might be, as the video said, his version of a decompression, to decompress. It's like a mental reset button after surviving the noise of the world. We're taught to internalize stress and to just power through our pain. Not as many men have safe havens where they can just emote and share that pain. So this protector, provider role often comes with unspoken pressure. And not every brother has been taught how to decompress in a healthy, expressive way, right? In an outward or external way. For some, and ladies, I want you to really hear this, for some, silence is a self-care boundary for them. Silence is the way that they reset and look at their worthiness and gratefulness. Silence is self-care. So sitting in the man cave, sitting in the garage, having a beer, scrolling down in the basement, strolling down there, or zoning out to music, it might not be avoidance. It could be his form of therapy. Okay. So a mistake that we might make, or a person might make when someone is distant from them, is to personalize that distance without any understanding. Because it might feel like it's a silent protest or punishment when really it's a coping mechanism, it's a coping strategy. And it's not to cope with you, it's to cope with all of the things that they've had to contend with externally. And he might not feel like articulating or even have the language to articulate, I'm overwhelmed. But maybe his body is screaming it, his heart is screaming it. So, what if we learned to read that silence as a need for recovery time instead of personal rejection? Okay. So, kind of the translation of that is his peace might feel like loneliness to you, but that doesn't mean he's pushing you away. He might be trying to pull himself together. His space is not about you. It's about his sanity. All right. Denise Harris has joined us. Thank you so much. Stephanie Bolger has joined us. Trying to get to the comments. Good evening. Good evening. We are talking from the inbox of a woman who is believing that her husband has become distant because he doesn't respond like he used to when he comes in the door during the day. If that resonates with you, drop in the comments, me too, if that is something that resonates with you. And I want to go to one of our partners, our lovely partners. Christina, the money coach, has been a Love and Stuff community staple for years. We love her and adore what she is doing to help others walk through their financial journey. So if you are a person who needs to get your financial footing so you can thrive in 2025, it's not too late. We're just entering into the second quarter of the game of this year. And it's still time for you to get your financial house in order, to get your investments, your savings, to make that money and other people's money work for you. And if that's you, we want you to check out Powerful Money Tools, LLC.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
Powerful Money Tools LLC. Christina, the money coach, can't wait to help you. She's helped a number of people in the Love and Stuff community get their financial footing, from saving, from investing, from credit repair and credit building. She has been a whiz in helping many people. She's been the whiz in Oz, the real thing behind the green screen. And Christina, we thank you for your partnership. Andre Green has joined us. Click share and tag someone to join us as we're talking about shade or silence. This woman from the inbox is saying her husband shows up differently now. He comes in immediately and he is silent. And so I was providing some tips to her that I thought would be good to share with you, tips that I've synthesized from many great couples over the years. And point number one is that his space is not about you. It's about his sanity. This world is a tough world in which we live, and men aren't always wired to be as expressive or in the way that we would see expression, right? That ladies might think of expression, right? That the world might say, this is what you should do. We're just coming into an age where we're encouraging men to emote, encouraging men to be their authentic selves, but that's not how we've been wired and trained. And so you got to know that need for that separate time is not something you should personalize about you. His peace may feel like loneliness, but that doesn't mean he's pushing you away. He might be trying to pull himself together. All right. So point number two, learn his new rhythm without taking it personal. So that personalization is coming over into number two, because just because he's changed doesn't mean he's cheating. It doesn't mean he's checking out. I'm not saying rule those out. You should have communication to understand, you know, what's happening that's changing and shifting, right? And whenever a foot moves with two people that are walking together, that foot slips, you ought to be paying attention to that. But because he's changing doesn't mean he's cheating or checking out. Bodies change, needs shift, relationships evolve. Pay attention to when he engages, not just how often, because quality should beat out quantity. Now, I know that's tough for some people, but as we age, as we change, as we evolve, the quality of our relationships should beat out the quantity of the interactions in that relationship. So don't measure love by his silence. Measure it by his consistency. Okay? Because relationships breathe. They're living, they're breathing. They shift and evolve just like we do, right? Because we're in them, right? So maybe he used to come home and jump into conversation, and now he comes home and sinks into stillness. That's not always a red flag. It's a rhythm change. And so now you have to understand the rhythm change without necessarily taking it personally, judging him, or penalizing him for it. What matters is that when he shows up, not just how, okay? Does he still make plans with you? Does he still prioritize time on the weekends? This woman says they're connecting more on the weekends and less on weeknights. Is it because he's dog tired from the world beating him down during the week? Is there a way that you can connect with him during the week on the 1 or 2 times that he wants to connect? And take that he wants to connect on the weekends. Is it okay? Is he consistent in offering affection, even if it's less often? That consistency, even if it's reduced, is still a form of showing up. So you want to see if this new rhythm is consistent. If it's irregular, you should be having some conversation about the irregularity. But if it's consistent, meaning it's slowing down, it was 5 nights a week and now it's 2 nights a week. And it's been 2 nights a week for the last month. That's the conversation that you have as you lean into the rhythm without thinking it's about you, without taking it personally. Because oftentimes when we internalize it and take it personally, we rob ourselves of having the rich dialogue about us changing together. Have you ever walked side by side with someone? I'm a fast walker. Autumn will tell you that. And she'll be saying, I'm running to keep up with you. Well, growing up, my dad was a fast walker. My dad will walk everywhere. And he said, if you're going to keep up with me, you're going to keep up in step. So imagine walking in step with somebody and then they start to slow down. And you're still trying to do this and wondering, okay, I'm in front of them. Well, slow down and see if there's a reason that they've slowed down so you can walk back in step with them. Find out why there's a slowdown. And maybe the slowdown will feel better to you once you get and lean into the rhythm. So don't let a lack of a necessarily timed daily check-in, maybe the time shifts. Don't let that convince you of emotional absence. Many men, not all of them, are not good at performing emotional closeness every day, especially if they're in conflict outside in some other way. But if they're still in the room, still holding on, just quietly be prepared to acknowledge that as a part of the new rhythm if it becomes consistent. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have dialogue and conversation about what's happening or why, but do it so that there is an emotional safety for them to be able to say, I'm spent, I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out. Because the rhythm could be changing and that can be perfectly okay. So the translation to that, and I see Andre Green saying, man, bro, I came in at the right time, my Lord. Tracy Robinson has joined us as well. Thank you both for joining. Click share. Translation, just because love isn't loud doesn't mean it's gone. You have to sometimes learn to listen to love for the new beat that it brings. Sometimes the beat is slower. Sometimes it's faster. Sometimes it's more subtle. Sometimes it's syncopated. But get in the flow of a new rhythm without taking it personally. All right. I want to hear from you just to know whether or not any of this resonates with you. Whether or not, as I'm saying in point 2, learn his new rhythm without taking it personally. Really important. And I want to talk about rhythm. I want you to make some rhythm with Detroit Couture. Listen, June Rochelle Eaton is a powerful businesswoman, and she has many brands, but one of them that she's highlighting right now, ladies, is Detroit Couture. It's her online boutique that you can shop for one-of-a-kind pieces. And talking about healthy boundaries, she will work with you in custom pieces to make sure that you have everything that you need It's Detroit Couture, and I want you to check it out. And we want to thank June Rochelle Eaton in advance.
Hi, my name is June Rochelle, and I own Detroit Couture. We are a fashion forward women's boutique, and we offer friendly sizes from small all the way up to 3X women's sizes, very generously fit, very great quality. I actually have on one of our pieces today. It's called the Cuffed Up. It's in gray, burgundy, and black and olive, and it actually has a lot of stretch and give. So listen, in this time, we try to make sure that first of all, it's quality and customer service that we offer our clients. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to share with you. So go and visit us at DetroitCouture.com.
DetroitCouture.com. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. They have amazing pieces, ladies. So as going into the fashion season, the wedding season, the event season, and you want something one of a kind, check out Detroit Couture. They've got just the fashions for you. And fellas, if there's a special lady in your life and you want to surprise her with something, you know her taste, or you're not so good about taste, June will help you curate pieces that will be amazing while your woman, your special person is on your arm. Detroit Couture, we appreciate the partnership, and we hope to do something really soon. We've been talking about doing a couple of events, and we're looking forward to the opportunity. Well, we're going back into the topic. This 40-something woman is talking about from the inbox how she is noticing a shift in her husband of 15 years, that he is now coming straight home, and which I think is wonderful that he's coming straight home, but he's coming straight home and going straight in the house, going straight to the garage, going straight to the basement, going straight to the man cave, and he's silent. He kisses her and goes off. Before, he would stop and talk and laugh, and they could cook together and do different things. She finds that he's connecting less frequently during the week. They still have the same kind of schedule of connection on the weekends, but during the week it's less frequently, and she feels that something is wrong. In this month that we are focused on setting healthy boundaries, we have to be okay with men setting boundaries too for self-care, but all of us should be taking an introspective look at not only our relationships with others, but relationships with self. Are you filling up your measuring cup? Are you filling up your pitcher before you're trying to pour into other people and relationships? And are you communicating to those people as your needs evolve and change? So we've shared two of the points that I have shared with her. Two of the points we talked about before we go to point number 3. Number 1, his space is not about you. It's about his sanity. Translation, his peace may feel like your loneliness, but that doesn't mean he's pushing you away. He might be trying to pull himself together. That was point number 1. Point number 2 is learn his new rhythm without taking it personally, without judgment, without thinking it is about you again, right? But lean into this new rhythm. Translation, just because love isn't loud doesn't mean it's gone. As long as there is a new level of consistency, lean into it and listen for the new beat. That doesn't absolve the two of you from having the requisite conversations and communication so that you both can walk in tune, in step, but the step may change, the beat, the rhythm, the tempo may change, and you have to be able to lean into that, right? And number 3, which I talked earlier about, and I normally get inboxes after I use this word. I talked earlier about the nag muffin. That's what I call it. When you're nagging, as soon as he hits the door, take out the trash. Don't take your shoes off. Take your shoes off at the door. Wash your hands. You do this kind of nag thing. I call it being a nag muffin. It's the last thing you should do with your husband when he's coming in the door, ladies. Last thing you should do with your significant other. Stop leading with the honey-do and start with, honey, I see you. You know, we can have a honey-do list long as an arm, right? Baby, you forgot to get that nail out the wall. Baby, you forgot to put that leg on the chair. Baby, you forgot. Baby, you forgot. Are you going to do this? You didn't do this. Did you bring this home? Did you stop by the cleaners? Did you? Don't lead with a honey-do list. Start with a honey I see you list. Before the chores, before the kids, before the combos, acknowledge his effort. A simple, I'm glad you made it home safely, or take your time, baby, goes a long way. You know, there was a day and time when women used to answer the door in their nightgowns. I know people think that's objectifying. In their nightgowns with beer in tow. I'm glad you home, baby. Because see, it sets a tone of peace, not pressure. And if you've been dealing with pressure all day, ninjas all day, fill in the blank with your word, all day. If you have been advocating for people when no one has been advocating for you all day, you've been run off the road, run off the scene, run out of the board meeting, run off from your customers all day. You've been fighting racism, you've been fighting sexism, you've been fighting Xism all day. Give him a moment that has a tone of peace and not pressure. You can still communicate what you need, just not in the first seconds or first 5 minutes of him walking in the door. See, it's easy for all of us to start a conversation with, can you? Did you? Because life is hectic. Kids and bills and errands and homes and jobs don't always give us the breathing room that we need, right? But for a man, your lover, your spouse, your husband who's just walked through the door and spent the day being everything to everybody else, another list, even if it's small, can feel like one more weight to carry on his back. And so what he needs isn't always a solution or a task. Sometimes it's just a soft place to land. I see you. I hear you. I love you. Maybe it's not even words. It's just a look that says, I'm glad you made it through the day. Come on in. You're safe. You hit a home run. You made a touchdown. Come on in. You're safe. And maybe even just a touch that says, you don't have to be strong with me. You still got needs. You can still express them. Just don't lead with that list. Lead with love. The translation is, can you be his exhale before you ask him to inhale more? Before the to-do list, offer the peace. Okay? That's number 3. It is really steps that you can take to stop leading with the honey-do list and start with the honey I see you list. And we're going to be right back, but because I want to talk to you about 4 steps to shift from pressure to presence. 4 things that you can do to shift it from pressure to presence. Okay? I want you to hang in there with us. We have different people in the Love and Stuff community who are small business owners, and we want to highlight their business. And Nicole Baldwin has some amazing jewelry that she's created, and she's doing an outstanding job with it. Kudos to her. And with this short clip that's going to show you a little bit of her jewelry, I want you to check out Nicole Baldwin on Facebook, and she's also Nicole Beads on YouTube. Check her out right now. I think that's amazing work. It's just a small little promo for Nicole. But did you see those beads? She does those by hand. She does her work by hand. Now, as she scales, she's going to have to get some more hands, right? But she has an amazing eye for these beads. And ladies, if you want just the right bracelet, necklace, earrings, you need to check Nicole out. Nicole, we love you in the Love and Stuff community, and we wish you much success with your business ventures. We're talking from the inbox today of a 40-something-year-old woman whose husband has changed his rhythm. He's changed how he shows up when he's entering the door. And she's worrying about, is this just how it's going to be? She doesn't understand where this need for space is coming from. She says, I just don't understand where this need for space came from. Is it me? Is it him? Or is it just what marriage becomes after 15 years? No, I'm not married, but I've talked to many couples that have been married 1 year, 15 years, 50 years, 65 years, 22 years, divorced and remarried. And that's where I understood and got this concept of the nag muffin. Talking to a lot of brothers, a lot of men, some of them of different ethnicities, they had this common thread about the honey-do list meeting them at the door. That if they could just get in the door and have some space and time for themselves, because they haven't had that space or time all day long. All day long, they've been on the grind, doing things for other people, working in other people's business, which can be an angst in and of itself for a man, having to report to someone else, right? Now, he might be able to do something about that, right? But what is the pressure on his psyche of knowing that he could do better than those that are in charge? And layer on that the biases and prejudice that may come with being particularly a Black man in corporate, all of those pressures. And that is notwithstanding that women, and that's not to say that women don't have similar pressures, but the man might feel as if he is protector and provider plus, 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 plus. And if I could just have 25 minutes and a beer, if I could just have 10 minutes to pray, if I could just have an hour to meditate, if I could just have time to unwind and not have to do anything for anybody but myself, my silence is self-care. And you got to be open that that might be what he's telling you. So we're sharing a few points. And I shared earlier, point number one, his space isn't about you. It's about his sanity. His peace may feel like your loneliness, but that doesn't mean he's pushing you away. He might be trying to pull it together. Excuse me. Number two, learning his new rhythm without taking it personally, that it's about you, right? Or that you should judge it, or that there's something else going on. He's cheating, you're checking. No, relationships breathe, they evolve, they shift just like we do because we're in relationships, and that's why they shift, right? So because he now comes home and sinks into stillness is not always a red flag. It could be a rhythm change, one that you've got to lean into. So the translation there is, just because love isn't loud doesn't mean it's gone. You got to learn to listen for the new beat and to get in rhythm, to get in step, to catch the syncopation, to catch the tempo, right? We talked about number three, stop leading with the honey-do list and start with the honey, I see you list. And so here are 4 steps within that to shift from pressure to presence. I see Andrew Green says, I've been in this space multiple times during my nearly 20-year marriage to the love of my life, and I might even be there right now. You're spot on with your advice tonight, bro. I'm just doing what I'm doing. But thank you. The quintessential love is sending the message, and I appreciate it. He connected. Sometimes I unearth things in the inbox, Andre, that go along with the month that we're in. And this month in April, inside Love and Stuff, is about setting healthy boundaries. That's what I want people to focus on. So 4 steps to shift from pressure to presence. Remember, you can put pressure at the door, right? And you can unlock the door, but you can lock him down. You can lock him up from being able to bear his soul to you, right? Because most husbands can melt or be built up by 2 words from his wife. I see it all the time. I see husbands who starve and crave to hear their wives say, "You're good, you're worthy." And when those wives do, that man will jump over buildings. He will resurrect the dead if Jesus gave him the power, because a woman can build up her man or tear him down. So when you're at the door, ladies, the pressure you can put is to lock your man down at the door instead of unlocking the door. Be careful. All right. So 4 steps to shift from pressure to presence. Number 1, greet first. Don't assign first. Okay. So instead of starting with, "Can you take the trash out?" say, "Hey, babe, I'm glad you're home." Period. "Hey, babe, I'm glad you're home so you can take the trash out." "Hey, babe, I'm glad you're home with the trash in your hand." "Hey, babe. Hey, boo. Hey, bookie. Hey, schnookums," whatever you call them. "Hey, daddy. Hey, big man," whatever you call them. "I'm glad you're home." Let him in the door, let him go. Because the simple shift sets a completely different emotional tone for emotional resonance to happen throughout your house. You want that emotional resonance to go, "I'm safe, it's clean, it's peaceful." That's the emotional resonance that you want to bounce off, to reverberate throughout the home off the walls. Let him feel seen before he feels summoned. Okay, that's number 1. Greet first, don't assign first. Okay. Number 2, create a 30-minute or more grace window. Give him time, 30 minutes or more, after he walks in the door to decompress. No questions, not even "How was your day?" Just, "Hey, babe, I'm glad you're home." No task, no venting about your day. Let him take off the world before stepping into the world of your relationship. Elsewise, he might be bringing the world into that relationship, and that might be detrimental to the moments that are so crucial for you to share together. This isn't about ignoring responsibilities. It's just about honoring transitions. Let there be a peaceful transition from leader to husband, from follower to husband, from tribe leader to husband, from fixer to husband, from all of those things to human. Create a grace window. Okay. Number 3, replace critique with curiosity. You know, instead of saying, "Now, why do you always go in the garage after work?" You might try, "You seem like you're starting to need some time when you get home. What would help you settle in best?" "Yeah, yeah, babe, I do. If I could just have about an hour of time, hour or two." "Well, babe, can we meet in the middle? Because you're working these late hours. If you come in at 7, it'll be 9, it'll be bedtime. And could we do an hour, and then at 8 we can at least eat together or just cuddle?" "Yeah, babe, I think maybe we can do that." Or maybe we can do that a couple times a week, and then you can have 2 hours a couple times a week. But I recognize you need some time when you get home. So what can I do to help you settle in? Because see, this reframes these moments of interaction from accusation to space for intimacy. What can I do to serve the moments that you need for solitude, sanity, and to settle in? Replace the critique with curiosity. Okay. And number 4 of the 4 steps to shift from pressure at the door to presence, Sometimes it's not about words. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes a soft touch or soft words, but sometimes no words and just a soft touch. I know the Bible says a soft answer turneth away wrath, and it does. And I think the suggestion is that a harsh word wouldn't, right? But it's kind of silent on the silent, isn't it? You don't always have to say anything. So maybe a back touch or back rub, a light kiss, a foot rub, or handing him his favorite beverage or drink says, "You're safe with me. You're safe here." And that might be louder than nagging ever would be, and certainly more effective. Physical connection, which is important to men, when initiated without expectation, can communicate your care and love more powerfully than conversation sometimes. Soft touch, not just soft words. Okay, very important. And we're going to get to number 4 right away because we're coming right at 9:26. Number 4 of the section, remember we just gave you 4 steps to shift from pressure to presence, which was under number 3. Stop leading with a honey-do list and start with the honey, I see you. And these are ways to do that. Number 4 then is reconnect on neutral ground, not on emotional turf. Okay? Where is that place in your home or that place that you both go to where neither of you feels cornered? Maybe it's a late night ride in the car. Maybe you have a cooking playlist that you play, that you get playful and you dance around. Maybe it's a weekend coffee at your favorite spot. Don't force heavy conversations during the unwind time. Show him you're his safe space, not a second job. And then connect at these other junctures from that place of peace so that your real connections can grow. Because sometimes we try to connect when there's distance or when we feel the most distance, which sometimes we're already going into the conversation with a heavy, emotional, sometimes accusatory mindset. But what if you had places that you went to that were new, low pressure rituals together? There were places that you're going to reconnect after decompression, and those places are reserved only for that. Maybe when you do the morning walk, it's about reconnecting. It's not about the heavy conversation. Or maybe it's the heavy conversation and you decide to leave it on the beaten path, as it were. Again, maybe it's the shared playlist in the kitchen, and that's the place that you cook and kiss, make love. I don't know what you do in your kitchen, but maybe there are safety zones where you reconnect only. Safety zones where you have tough conversations and you don't blur those boundaries. Maybe you take a drive to nowhere until everything has been said, and then you can turn around and go home. See, these small neutral moments make room for natural conversation, and they can also help you through confrontation when you feel refueled enough, in a place and mindset enough to have those tough discussions. They don't force connection. Instead, they kind of invite it. Okay? So when you stop needing him to show up in a certain way, you actually create a space for him to show up in a certain way because it's not forced, it's authentic. And the translation there is connection grows best where there is no judgment, just presence. Okay? So don't force the moment, create the moment on neutral ground, not emotional turf. And I want to share with you before we close, because we're right at 9:30, 4 steps to build low pressure rituals for connection. Thank you, Jennifer Jackson Horton, for joining us. Number 1, Identify neutral zones. Talked a little bit about that, right? Where are those places where they're non-emotional wired, that they don't involve conflict or the history of conflict or trauma or decision making? Find a shared space or activity that doesn't involve those things. Could be your favorite song, could be a short ride, as we mentioned. It could be cooking together, folding laundry, whatever doesn't demand emotions but invites the other to be present with you. Okay. Number 2 in these 4 steps to build low pressure rituals for connection: schedule us time that's light and fun. Choose a consistent moment like Friday night Netflix or Saturday morning coffee or Sunday morning worship that's sacred but not serious. Consistency builds comfort. And over time, these small rituals become anchors for deeper connection. Okay. Number 3, use silence as a setup, not a shutdown. So don't rush to fill quiet time with questions and busyness. Let it breathe. Connection doesn't always start with conversation. Sometimes it starts with comfort and safety in the same room, in the same space. So be present to the other person and let presence be enough. Then let words come organically and naturally. Okay. And number 4, catch him off guard with affirmation. I love this one. While riding in the car or walking past him in the house, say something unexpected like, you sexy. Something like, I appreciate what you do. Something like, I still think you're the smartest person in the room. Something like, I still think you're fine. See, these low stakes moments remind him that he's valued, and they open the door for reciprocity, for reciprocation without pressure. It's a low pressure ritual to pass by him and brush against them, ladies. I said, you smell good. What you wearing? Now he may say, I'm wearing you, right? But it's low pressure. It opens the door for there to be pressure-free environments, which is what you want, so that it's not emotionally charged turf. And the more of those spaces you create in your home, the less space there is for emotionally charged turf. You can take those turfs to the backyard, take those turfs on the walking path, right? And designate those spaces to say, we're going to be in agreement that a part of our ritual is that we're not going to argue in our bed. We're not going to argue over our food. We're not going to argue in our great room. You create these low pressure activities in spaces that you design for low pressure just so that you can stay connected. Okay? You got to stay connected. We're at 9:33. Oh, thank you, Andre. You're biased. You love me. Click share, tag some other folks. We're in a world where I believe, before I close, let me make some quick shouts out. They will feel like a little bit of a detour, but they are important. Shout out to the family of Juanita Patrick, who passed away Sunday morning, who was 94 years old, and just a couple of months ago was on Loving Stuff and checking out stuff on Facebook. She was always a jazzy lady. She was one of my mother's dearest friends, and she made her transition. Shout out to the entire family. Shout out to the family of Cheryl Swacker, who's a part of our Love and Stuff community, whose mother made her transition also on Sunday. I believe Sunday or yesterday. I'm not even sure which day I'm in. I think it's Tuesday. But Cheryl, we love you and we're walking with you through this journey of transition. And I have to shout out Senator Cory Booker, who's done everything I thought he would be. He is. And I so admire him taking a stand. Feels like I haven't watched the entire thing, but I think he broke the record for staying on the Senate floor and really being a voice of advocacy against these Trumpian policies. I'd have to mention that today, and I want to make sure that I do. We're living in a world that I don't think we've really analyzed the impact of the pressures of a pandemic. People are still burned out from the pandemic. And we're living in this VUCA world. This word is so volatile. It's uncertain. So many things are changing so quickly, right? And that on top of the different isms that people are dealing with, racism and sexism and nepotism and exism. People are dealing with so many different external pressures that if we don't set healthy boundaries for self-care for ourselves and our relationships, my concern is that people will literally explode and relationships will implode. You have to set for your life, for your relationship, for your family, healthy boundaries. And boundaries for most people feel like saying no, when really they're saying, not now, not yet, not me. And you must give yourself turmoil, trials, bills, and collectors, competition, and outsourcing, and fear of layoffs, and all of these things. You must create for yourself a wellness strategy for you so that you can pour into the relationships that you've been given the privilege to be part of. It's a privilege to be in relationship, to be in covenant with another person. It's a privilege to have a daughter, to have a son, to have a mother, to have a father. Ask anyone who doesn't have those things anymore. It's a privilege. And with that privilege comes the great responsibility of filling your cup first so that you can help to fill the cup of others. And everyone needs to be empathetic to your quest to do that in ways that serve you so that you can then serve them, serve the community and the larger world as you are called. Because if you don't, you will underserve yourself, challenging what God has done in making you worthy to pursue and become the highest actualization of yourself, the highest expression of his love that he's put in you. And that cannot happen without you taking care of you first. And so if you're taking care of you first, then your partner has to do the same. And you've got to have an open door. You've got to have a place that is without pressure and filled with peace, that it is okay to have those boundaries, even with the person that you love the most outside of yourself, right? We talk about the quintessential love, who is God, who has loved us and willed us into existence and wrote a book of love chapters about us and for us and to us, that we might love him with all that we have and are, and then love ourselves and our neighbors as ourselves. But how can you love your neighbor as yourself if you won't take care of yourself? Self-care is simply your love and your gratefulness speaking to your worthiness. You are worthy of setting boundaries for self-care so that you can fill up, recharge, refuel, address burnout, address depression, address anger, address trauma, so that you can be all that you're called to be before you pour into relationships, or your pour may be off measure and it may not serve well you or the person that you're in relationship with. I'm Marcus Holmes. It's 9:39. I could go on and on and on about synthesizing the conversations and the information that I've gotten from couples who were married 1 year and 65 years, and everyone in between. For the love to work, there had to be communication and respect, and there had to be a desire to help to build self as you're building the other person. I want to challenge you tonight in this entire month of April to set healthy boundaries. First, for yourself. I would say the healthy boundary around yourself really goes higher than you think. It is, how am I supposed to design my life so that I send up to God what he expects and receive from him what I should expect my marching orders to go forward. That's a part of your boundaries. You got to set some boundaries around who can speak to you, who can speak into your life, is what I'm saying. Okay, you're reading a good book and that's great. Does it line up with the good book? You're into love. Does it line up with the love? Set a boundary around this love that you will accept that does not flush against his love. We can never be his love, but his love is a measure by which we can look at love to say, is that love? Then setting a boundary for yourself that you're going to take care of your temple. You're going to take care of your temperament. You're going to take care of your treasure and align those things so that you can recharge and refuel at the necessary increments, at the necessary times, so that you can be all that you're called to be. And boy, are you called to be a lot. You're called to be a father, a husband. You're called to be a pastor, a deacon. You're called to be a business owner. You're called to be a teacher. You're called to be a mentor. You're called to be a brother. You're called to be a friend. You're called to be an uncle. You have all of these things you're called to be. How can you be them if you have no boundaries that allow you to refuel and recharge? And then set healthy boundaries for others, because that will mean sometimes you will have to tell people, no, not now, not yet, not me. All month long. Set healthy boundaries. Join me as I do the same. Join the entire Love and Stuff community. And if you think there is someone in your life who needs to do the same, encourage them to click the notification bell at the Love and Stuff community page on Facebook or Marcus R. Holmes page so that they can get more content around setting healthy boundaries this month. I appreciate you for joining, and I hope that you will do one more thing for me, that you will click share. Tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, Twitch followers, subscribers on YouTube, or friends or connections on Instagram. 5 of the more popular ones to keep this conversation going for couples in covenant or otherwise who might need to take a rhythm check. Because as we evolve, as we age, as we have spiritual metamorphosis, as we have life events, our rhythms change. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're emotionally absent, rather, our needs have shifted. And when the needs of your partners shift, you should pay attention to lean in to see what you can do to serve them well. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you next Tuesday. For those of you that love sports and you're into March Madness, listen, I got 2 fellas who love all things sports, and they will be back with us Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Their Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix. They have an amazing show and an amazing group, and I invite you to join them. And ladies, it's not just for fellas. If you have a husband and you don't know anything about sports, after you watch that show, you're going to be able to do something special with your husband at halftime. You're going to learn a lot of things about everything in sports, and you'll be able to be more conversant and even spend some of that time with your husband after he's had a silent time away. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. I'm advocating for better love for you and me, for your spouse, for your parents, for your children, for your siblings, for your community. And if that resonates with you, get on board and join us in the Love and Stuff community. Join us right now. We're so grateful that you joined us tonight to be here. And I hope that you will share this broadly and widely with others.
Sis, let me tell you something real. Sometimes your man walks in that door, and it's not that he's mad at you. It's that he's tired of performing for the world. He's been wearing masks all day. Providing, protecting, showing up in rooms that don't even see him. So when he comes home quiet, sitting in the garage or sinking into that couch, it might not be distance. It might be decompression. Don't take it personal if he needs a little time to breathe. He's not saying he don't love you. He's saying he's trying not to lose himself. Try this. When he comes home, lead with peace, not a list. Say, I'm glad you're home. Let him land. Then find your moment. Not in the rush of chores or complaints, but in the stillness. That's where the real connection lives. He doesn't hate you.
Yeah. 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 Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by